I'm a filmmaker on a voyage of discovery, passionate about exploring the world and the beauty of nature. Nature's wonders can open the heart, feed the mind, and nourish the soul. When you watch these images, your body recognizes it as something which is true and authentic because the rhythms and patterns are the same movements that are happening inside every cell of your body. That's why I call it visual healing. I love making the invisible visible and taking people into these real worlds beyond human vision. Beauty is nature's tool for survival because we protect what we love. The comment I hear most often when people see these images is, "Oh my God." Have you ever wondered what that means? Well, the O signifies that nature caught your attention, your focus. It made you present and mindful. And the My signifies a recognition, a homecoming, a personal connection deep inside your soul, a gateway for your true inner voice to rise up and be heard. And God signifies that personal journey we're all on, to be inspired, to be connected to a universal energy that celebrates life.
We're at the Golden Door, and this is our Friday night speaker series. And I'm sitting with the, oh my gosh, incredible Louie Schwartzberg. I'm Kathy Van Ness, the general manager, and we're going to have a wonderful conversation about your work. And first, can you share with me, describe what, to your guests, what is your work all about?
I think it's trying to connect to those universal rhythms and patterns that are the deepest part of your soul. And it can be like a rock, it could be a fire hydrant, it could be all kinds of things, but you feel that connection deep inside. And when you do, you know you're connecting with something that's bigger than you. It's, you know, part of the universe.
Did you always know this was something you wanted to do?
It's interesting. I grew up in Brooklyn. My parents were Holocaust survivors, so I never experienced nature at all until I went to college. I went to UCLA, and I was going to be a lawyer. You know, history major, and it was during the anti-war demonstrations, and there were like police on campus. Once I picked up a camera, I think I found my voice. I started to shoot nature. Nature taught me everything about lighting, composition, movement, and it's been my greatest teacher, and it still is.
Did you just sort of jump from urban to nature just that naturally? It just...
Yeah, I think that anybody can do that. I think a day or two in a national park can turn anybody on. Nature Bridge, I've done a couple of like fundraisers for them. They take kids in the inner city who have never been to the beach or, you know, in nature. And in 3 days, they completely turn these kids around. Oh so gosh. I think it's inside of all of us. It's just a matter of reconnecting to who we are. I mean, we are a part of nature, not separate from nature. So making that connection, I think, can be easy.
So that's pretty profound. Tell me about you. How do you connect with nature? How do you personally connect?
Well, through my camera.
Yeah.
I think that in the process of filmmaking, it makes you present because I have to focus on, you know, on the lighting, you know, the day, the sky, the clouds, especially if I do time-lapse on animal behavior. You know, all my life I walked around and saw bees and I would just freeze, or I'd want to hit it, you know? And then like now, if you look closely, what's a bee doing? Oh my God, it's like it's pollinating this flower. It's getting all buried in the pollen to take back to the hive. And it's a mystical intersection of the animal world and the plant world, making love. And like, how could you ignore that when most of us are oblivious to that?
Mushroom mycelium represents rebirth, rejuvenation, regeneration. Fungi generate soil that gives life. The task that we face today is to understand the language of nature. My mission is to discover the language of nature of the fungal networks that communicate with the ecosystem. And I believe nature is intelligent. The fact that we lack the language skills to communicate with nature does not impugn the concept that nature is intelligent. It speaks to our inadequacy for communication. If we don't get our act together and come in commonality and understanding with the organisms that sustain us today, not only will we destroy those organisms, but we will destroy ourselves. We need to have a paradigm shift in our consciousness. What will it take to achieve that? If I die trying, but I'm inadequate to the task to make a course change in the evolution of life on this planet, okay, I tried. The fact is, I tried. How many people are not trying? If you knew that every breath you took could save hundreds of lives into the future, had you walked down this path of knowledge, wouldn't you run down that path of knowledge as fast as you could? I believe nature is a force of good. Good is not only a concept, it is a spirit. And so hopefully the spirit of goodness will survive.
I've probably seen this video 20 or 30 times now. Not as much as you've seen it, I'm sure. Are you still moved by it?
Absolutely. I think when you do time-lapse, you're kind of opening up a window of perception into another world, a world that isn't the human world. We live with narrow blinders, 24 frames per second blinders. I mean, a redwood tree lives for like 1,000 years, and we must look like ants scurrying around. And then to a mosquito, we must be this slow-moving giant, right? So you realize that every animal and plant has its own metabolic rate, its own perception into a universe of reality. So every time I see it, I know my brain is like turned on because I'm watching something that is transformational, that opens my mind. And when your mind becomes more open, it opens your perspective, broadens your horizons, it opens your heart. It makes you a more compassionate human being.
Absolutely, it touches you. I want to take something a little bit more interesting. I read in your bio, this is really interesting to me, that you were the only cinematographer to have shot 20, I want to get this right because it's amazing to me, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 30 years. How could that possibly be done?
Well, I have a studio where I bring my little critters into the studio because in order to do time-lapse 24 hours a day, I have grow lights, and I have to shoot them at night. And if I left my cameras out in the open, they'd get stolen, and bugs would get into them, and the wind would shake the plant. So in order to do a study like that, I have to do it in a controlled environment. So I've been having cameras running nonstop because time is precious. So the 30 years of shooting, I shoot on average 2 seconds of film per day in a 24-hour period. And if anyone here is good with math, if you want to figure 2 seconds per day times 30 years equals,
A lot.
Any guesses? Throw a number out, come on. 15 hours of material. I've squeezed 30 years into 15 hours.
Wow.
Because time is precious. So as we're having this interview right now, I'm shooting an orchid. And
How? It's just,
back at the studio
it's,
on computer automatic, and I've probably shot about maybe 1/8 of a second of film
oh my goodness.
in 3D in IMAX quality.
Amazing. So that leads me to the question, how long does it take to shoot that orchid?
Well, on average, it takes about, well, the orchids open in about 2 days. So that's on average.
2 days. It takes the whole 2 days.
Yeah, but 2 to 3 days, depending on the
Open
orchid.
and shut, yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, on average, I get like 2 seconds per 24-hour period. I mean, the way this all started was when I graduated from UCLA, I wanted to shoot high-quality film, 35 millimeter movie film, which back then was very expensive. You know, 4 minutes of film would cost about $400, basically $100 a minute. So I couldn't afford that. So one of the ways to kind of feed my desire of capturing the beauty and the wonder of nature was to shoot time-lapse, because it would take me a month or longer to shoot a roll of film. So I get a lot of experience out of it. I could learn as a young, student filmmaker about lighting and composition and nature, and it afforded me the ability to shoot high quality film. Every TV being made this year is going to be 4K or Ultra HD, which is really amazing because now the sharpness of these TV screens will equal the acuity vision of your eyes. So these TV screens can be a visual kind of window to the world, and they should be used as visual healing, not to watch reality TV or junk. Yeah. I mean, this is a great example. This is a place that nurtures, quality food, quality experience, modalities like, massage and training, but our eyes, we get 80% of the information through our eyes. And what do we feed our eyes? Junk food. I think when you see things in altered time and space, it takes you into a transformational place that is spiritual.
And it hit you that way?
Yeah.
Like you were first, back in the urbanites.
Yeah.
And then you became this.
It opens your heart all the time. It's like a dream state. And I'm always noticing more things. Like just now, I've seen the mushroom clip a whole bunch. But, I mean, I'm sitting close to the screen. I'm noticing the little pine needles move in a certain way. There's always another pattern. I mean, science is observation with an open mind, right? A blank slate, looking at patterns and rhythms. Talking with your gardener here, I mean, we're talking about the patterns and rhythms of Venus and the moon and the sun in terms of how he grows his garden, Being open to the patterns of that are in the universe means being observant. So the difference between an artist and a scientist is really small. We're both observing with an open mind. I can tell the story any way I want. A scientist has the scientific method. He's more constricted, but we're both trying to do the same thing, turn people on to the beauty of life.
Do you have a favorite flower?
Boy, that's a good one. I like dahlias, those big ones.
They're big and beautiful, lots of petals.
Lots of petals. I like poppies, they open and close every day.
Well,
they're all good.
that takes me to a really special place. We're all so stressed out today. We're all working hard. You know, the world is filled with technology and complicated. How can visual, moving, incredible art help change our pace?
I think when you see the rhythm and patterns of nature, which is the organic world, it helps us connect to who we are in a way that's not intellectual. It's an emotional connection. And when your heart feels it, that means you're recognizing, like looking into a mirror. And you don't have to necessarily analyze why, because you feel it. You know, when people go to a national park, it's like walking into a temple. Mm-hmm. And you feel it. And, you know, many people call it a spiritual experience. When you're in spirit, you are connected, I think, with this very deep vibration that is, you know, connecting you to the plants, to animals, to the earth, to the universe. And we all relish that experience.
How would we do that, though? How do we do that in our ordinary lives?
I think you could always take a break and, you know, walk outside in your backyard, look at a flower, be more present, look at the sky, look at a cloud. I go, I take a break at work in my studio. I go to the parking lot, and there's a hillside of like weeds and some wild, you know, blackberry bushes, and that's where I hang out. It's in the parking lot in the alley, and that's where I get my inspiration.
Is that right? So is that what feeds your own soul? What feeds your own soul? I mean, you see so much beauty every day in nature.
I think what feeds my soul is capturing these magic moments and also feeling, you know, the high I get when I can turn people on to it.
Well, we're going to look at one video, but I want to sort of enter into it. You've also taken some time to look at the human body, as the human body is sailing through the sky and going into sort of this athletic dance. Did you find that equally as moving as nature?
Well, we are nature.
That's a good point.
We are nature. I mean, that's where the giant disconnect happened. Probably, you know, before the Industrial Revolution, when we were all living on the land, we all felt connected. You know, like if it's a cloudy day, a sunny day, totally dictated what you had to do. And it's only in the last maybe 150 years that we've become disconnected from nature. So this idea like we got to protect nature is really wrong, because we have to really protect ourselves. We are part of nature. The idea that you're caring for this thing over here, you know, is something we should do because it's the right thing to do, when in truth we need to be caring for ourselves. I think self-care is world care.